People, Wednesday Wrath, straight from the chest. I'm your host, Justin Groth. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And you know what? Do me a favor. If you like this podcast and you like what I'm saying, then please share with others in your community. I will be grateful. I'll be most grateful for that. Guys, I hope you had a great day today, a great morning, a great start to your day. I didn't because I ran through a web. And one of my biggest pet peeves, if you know me, you know I hate running into spider webs. A, because I think that there's now a spider on me somewhere on my body and I hate spiders. And B, because the web is just never ending. I feel like I get it off here and then it's still on my body and I feel it throughout the entire day, or at least for a good few hours. I feel like there's still a web on me. And I just hate it. So it just literally can ruin my day. But I got over it. I get over it. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Anyways, oh man. So that happened. And then I started training people and the feeling of being irritated went away. And that's usually how it happens. I work with people and I end up getting away from my own problems because I'm doing what I do best, and that's helping others through fitness. And beating some butt in the process, right? I'm killing these people, but in a good way, so they can progress and they can become better versions of themselves, not only physically, but psychologically. And really, that's what you hire a trainer for, right? I mean, that's the reason why I'm in this space, because you need somebody like myself or like others that are in the field, in the profession, to guide you, to outline what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. And sometimes you get people that know what they're doing, and sometimes, most of the time, you don't get people that know what they're doing. But I remember back when I was training trainers, when I was a fitness manager of a commercial gym here, and the biggest thing that I taught, and I still teach to any trainer to this day, whether it's a new trainer or an experienced trainer, is to focus on structural strength. That being movement patterns and applying strength to the movement patterns. That is has the biggest carryover, the biggest benefit to anybody. And this could be anybody from an 11, 12, 13-year-old. Yes, they can still strength train. And an 80, up to an 80, 85-year-old. I mean, anybody. I mean, obviously, when you're getting into your 70s and 80s or even 60s, you're dealing more with proprioception and things of that nature, balance, etc. But still, strength training should be the crux of that person's program. And everybody alike. So if there's anything that we need as a human being, we need strength in primal movement patterns. That's going to be your hinge, your squat, your press, your push, your pull, etc. And a lot of times that gets overlooked because as trainers, we're too bombarded with our own ego and trying to conjure up the next best crazy training program, when really the progressive results lie in simplicity. Let me say that again. The progressive results, if you're about progressive results, that lies in simplicity. And so by taking away from the structural strength approach, you're just doing, dogmatic things that really serve no purpose to that human being a stronger human being. And strength can really just expand in multiple avenues of that person's life, not just physically, but psychologically. And so anyways, that is the crux of the core of what I teach. And every trainer should teach that, because that's what's most important. And what I love is getting somebody that's brand new, whether it be an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, or a 30-year-old, 40-year-old that's never actually engaged in any kind of physical fitness in their life. And I'm their first. I love it because I love training them from the right out of the gate when they're fresh and they're new and they don't have any conceived notions, ill notions of how to move or how to lift weights. And so I love seeing people with their compensatory patterns and all these ill movement mechanics, because I love to diagnose it. I love to actually get them moving right. And a lot of times you can do that so easily with somebody that's new. You can do it so effortlessly with somebody who's new to weightlifting, and it's very easy to teach them because they're so malleable to what you want them to do, because they want to learn. That's the reason why they're with you. And also on the other end of the spectrum, when you get athletes, they can be a handful because they feel like they already have a cinch they have a cinch in the understanding of what to do and how to do it, and they're 9 times out of 10 going to be more what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be more hard-headed when it comes to learning your approach. Because see, they're an athlete, they feel like they've gotten to where they've gotten because they've done things right. And most of the time, that's true. But some of the time, it's not true. And some of the time, these guys are their bodies are masters of compensation. They're masters of being in disguise. And what I mean by that is, if somebody has a squat pattern that to you visually looks good, they have a toe out on one foot and a regular stance on the other foot. And let's say they've been squatting that way for years and years and years, and they have never changed it. Their bodies, rightfully so, have compensated around that particular movement pattern, that knee drift that has a little bit more of a lateral toe out than the other side. And so because they're asymmetric in their movement, they don't notice, and it's because it's comfortable to them, they don't ever notice that there's any kind of discrepancy. But through the kinetic chain, there definitely is a discrepancy. But because they've been training so long in that pattern, they've kind of grew accustomed to that movement. And if you go in and step in and say, well, this should be this way, or we need to fix this and we need to fix that, it can sometimes ruin their squat, or it can actually hurt them because they've become so accustomed to that type of movement pattern that if you start to delegate things differently, they can actually get hurt because their bodies have grown a fungus around that compensation. So much like when you leave something out, or let's say you have a tree vine that grows on a wall, and you put something on the wall, the tree vine is going to grow around that discrepancy that's on the wall. It's just going to grow around. It's not going to stop in its tracks and say, wait, this is wrong. I don't want to grow around that. I don't know what this is. It's a foreign object, so I have to stop here. No, it's just going to grow around it, right? Same thing with the body. If you grow accustomed to a movement pattern, your body naturally will kind of compensate around that dysfunction. And it's not that it's right, but if you end up doing it for so long, your body just grows accustomed to it and you don't notice a difference. And if anything, if you try moving in the right direction, because this has been years and years of the same movement, thousands and thousands and thousands of repetitions, it's going to see that as a stress, and you could actually injure something in the process of trying to go the other end or trying to make it right. And I know this all too well because I suffer from the same thing. And I'd say suffer, but it's not really a suffer. It's just, it is what it is. I never had a trainer in the beginning to teach me right. And I just went with my own hip anatomy, with what I felt was comfortable during a squat, during a deadlift, during a prep, whatever. And so if ever I feel like maybe I should reposition myself or reposition my wrist or my elbow or my knee or my foot, etc., that can serve a link in a discrepancy in my chain, in the kinetic chain, and I could actually throw off my movement and actually expose myself to more of an injury. And so these athletes, it's almost better that they don't change that compensation pattern. But with people that are new coming in, you want to nip that in the bud. You want to change them. You want to set them off in the right trajectory. And you can do so because you have the ability, because they're starting off with you. And so when you facilitate that way, when you facilitate and structure that person around proper strength and movement patterns, they are set up for more success in the future. And so that's why I highly highlight the fact of being structurally strong and delegating your outline around being structurally strong and structural strength for that individual, no matter their age, no matter their goal. Even an athlete that has to be agile, they have to be strong in their agility patterns. If you're trying to be super mobile, okay, you don't want to be hyper mobile without having strength in your hypermobility. That's like Gumby. You can get, obviously you're not Gumby in your body, in your anatomy, so you can get hurt doing that, having that hypermobility with no strength. You see, strength is the crux of your format, of any goal. It is the crux of you. Strength has to remain first. So off of that, what am I doing with this topic? Where am I going with this topic? Hang with me. A lot of times we can see that something is off. We can see that something's off, but we don't want to change it because we're either one, just super prideful, and we don't want to reflect on our own state, and we want to just point out the flaws in everything else around us and give cause for concern to everybody else around us. And we never want to take a look at ourselves, our movements, our processes, and how we do things, because we just find so much sick joy in ridiculing and casting stones to everybody else. And it's much easier, let's be honest, it's much easier to cast stones than reflect on your own course and change your course, because you have to. Because you know you're off course, you're off beat. It's so easy to... So what I'm saying is, if you never look to change your compensations, you'll become a master at your compensatory patterns. And that is foul. That is destructive. You start believing in life, in real life, this is what massive compensation looks like. You start believing your own lies. You start justifying everything that you do. You're not open to criticism. You're not even open to encouragement, even though you think you are. Because your way is the right way. And even encouragement can look negative. Somebody encouraging you like you need encouragement. You're such and such. You don't need that. And you wallow in your prides. And you essentially, this is stemming from you just disguising your compensations that you've made from an early age. But if there's no crux, if there's no structure in the beginning, it's very difficult to come out of those compensations. Much like it's very difficult to come out of something that you've known your whole life and be open to something that could be better because you think you got to figure it out, because you've been doing this for this long and it's worked out this well. But what if things could have worked out better? What if you would have been on a more steadfast track if you had listened to the people that were trying to deviate you out of your compensations? When you're new, it's easy to be malleable. But when you're old, it's hard to be stretched. And it's hard to move out of your already illustrated ways. In my life, that applies. In your life, that applies. Being open to the criticisms, being open to understanding that there's a different way to go about things, and there's a different way in which you can process your information or what you see in your lens and apply it in your own life will speak dividends to you in the future. And what if that thing that was trying to change your compensations was God? What if God is trying to change your ways because he sees you running off course? And even though it feels right to you, because you've been doing it this long for so long, doesn't mean that it's right. That's something that's paramount in my life. And I'm sure it's paramount in someone's life right now. And it's super difficult to see things in a negative connotation regarding your own person and display that or receive it. It's hard because you don't ever really want to say that you're wrong. Because to you, you're the most important thing. To you, your name is the sweetest sound in the world. To you, your toothache means more to you than the famine in China that killed over 1 million people. Because you're selfish. And because you're you, and it's all about you and the importance of who you are. And look at me, and I'm never wrong, and this is who I am. But did you ever think that you're not always right? Did you ever think that there's somebody that can lend a hand of encouragement and a better understanding to where you could go? Because that exists. But if you're always blocking and you're your best professional master of compensation, aka master of disguise, you'll never fully be able to receive the benefits that are in front of you. Somebody asked me the other day, they say, Justin, what do you want in life? And I answered their question with a story, as I often do. And I don't mean to do it, but it's just the way my mind works a lot of times. I say, for sake of not putting this person on blast, we'll say, Brian, there was once a car that I saw outside of my bathroom window. Every time I took a shower, I saw this car. And mind you, I'm like 12 at the time, 12, 13 at the time. I saw this car, and it was a 1990 Nissan Sentra. It was white. A Nissan Sentra. For you that remember what a Nissan Sentra in 1990 looked like, it was a little box sedan. And it was nothing special. And I hadn't not been raised around things that were nice. I mean, I had a comfortable lifestyle when I was younger. I'm blessed to say that, thanks to my parents and God. But I remember looking outside this and still thinking this vehicle was it was bad. I loved it because I looked at it in the eyes of seeing it with rims on it, these chrome rims that I wanted to put on it. And yes, chrome rims were a thing back like 20 years ago. And so I still remember to this day what rims I wanted to put on it. I mean, they're hideous now, but I think about it back then. I'm like, those rims will look so tight on that car. And I pictured that car with these rims on it as if it were mine and thought that would be it. I would want that. That's it. I would be so happy with that car. I would be so happy with that style, everything. Well, that's what I wanted when I was 13. And that quickly changed when I was 16. And I definitely didn't get a car that looked like that. And in fact, at 16 years old, I thought that car was junk. But for some reason at 13, that's what I yearned for. I wanted that car with those rims on it. So what's different now? What's different now? You ask me what I want now. What I think I want and what I'm supposed to have and be are two different things. Because I'm so selfish and because I think the world revolves around me and because it's the Justin show, I want something that's self-centering to me. I don't want what God wants to do. And so that's why when you ask me, that's a loaded question. I can't tell you what I want. I can tell you what I feel, and I can tell you what I think I'm best at. But you know what's funny? What I thought I was best at, it's not really what I was best at. What I thought I was best at 1 year ago, 8 months ago, is not what I'm best at. I'm beginning to see what I'm best at as of 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I'm beginning to see what I'm better at. And I thought I was best at this other thing. And God's doing a new work in me. So what I want now is not what I really want. Because what I really want is for God to flow through me and express his purpose through me. That's what I want. I don't want what I think I want, because if I lay that out, it's selfish, it's self-centered, and it just relocates an impetus on me. And that's not what I want for my legacy. Because I want to be remembered when I die. So that means I have to live through the purpose that he already designed for me. And that's what I want. But I don't know what that is, Brian. So we'll just have to wait and see, right? That was my answer to him. Because I firmly believe that. I can't express it any other way. And neither should you. But what's going to help you to be able to see more of that thing that you still don't know about, don't know what it is, but know that you want what God wants for you, providing that that's your angle, and that's your, not angle, that is your pretext in life. You want what God wants for you because that is the best, period. Then you better be able to be malleable in your compensatory patterns right now. Don't let the compensation rule over you.